Okay, we
Please
are
let me know
recording.
when you've got the recording going.
Yep, we're up and running.
Nice. Okay, great. Well, of course, it's always a warm welcome back to the Kings and Queens. I'm just so happy to be with you all. It just kind of feels like even though we've been, together through social media and everything and having sort of some individual calls, it kind of feels like it's been a while since we met together. And I know it hasn't been that long, but we were kind of off for a week. So, now we're actually in our third mastermind call. And of course, off the top, I want everyone to know just how proud I am, and also to just start this call out with expressing congratulations and also celebrating you all just for all that you've been accomplishing so far. And since we met last, there's been, 2 5-day challenges, a couple of collaboration calls, and also the continual building and kind of ongoing masterminding that we've been doing. But before I start to share sort of the primary agenda for this call that was outlined in the email that you all received or should have received, did you all receive the email?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I did, yeah.
Okay, good. So I would love to sort of hear from anyone who wants to step forward and share what you're most proud of in the present that deserves celebration from what you've recently been doing. Of course, everything is a celebratory experience, big or small. And afterwards, I just want to hear from you all. I'm going to kind of do like maybe some check-ins about what your biggest takeaways have been so far about the process. So save those answers, but right now, let's hear about some of the things you just want to celebrate, for yourself or even maybe others. Chirp.
Okay, well, I'll start.
Okay, great. I was like, well, no one has anything to celebrate? Okay.
First of all, I'm thankful to have celebrated a birthday, and
Yay,
to be here for another year was a great celebration for me. Others may feel differently, but
I highly doubt that.
But another year has passed, and I want to be a lot more productive this year. The past few weeks, there hasn't really been so many tangible accomplishments per se. There's just been, the normal Monday updates with the Mount Building Monday, doing a lot more on my website, which is an ongoing process.
Oh, great.
Working to become more active on LinkedIn and social media, which is also ongoing. So that's pretty much been keeping me busy.
Okay.
As well as the latest challenge. I'm still working.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that soon. Thank you, King Joseph. I appreciate that. And of course, I'm happy that you've celebrated another year. And again, I highly doubt that anyone is feeling differently about that. Or give me the names and address.
I always say there's only one way to stop getting older, and I'm not ready for that yet. So.
I know that's the truth. That's a triple amen to that.
Dirt nap.
Amen. No dirt nap. No dirt nap.
Yeah.
I'll stay on this side of the grass for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else want to jump in? Something you want to celebrate about yourself, or just anything?
For me, there's been a shift really in terms of 2 things. One, getting my head round a style of writing, which I think particularly in the UK, where we tend to underplay things rather than overplay things. So that was a bit of a stretch, and I'm getting much more comfortable with that. But also there was an aha moment in the week where I've got a separate coaching program, which is always, it was how do I marry that with the Enlightened Leadership stuff?
Yes.
And so coming up with the idea of the Enlightened Leadership Accelerator program, where people work one-on-one with me as a high-end thing, was quite an aha moment, and I think will will help me.
Oh yeah, that's something to celebrate for sure.
Yeah. So pleased with that, and a very good conversation with you during the week. Thank you.
Oh, great, great. And we're going to come back around to that as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else got anything they want to congratulate themselves on or sort of celebrate?
I will.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to the group in the email, I have, man, that lunar eclipse and Mercury retrograde and everything else.
Retrograde,
yeah. Retrograde.
Like
I just want to say
retrograde,
retrograde because I just wanted to run away so I could retrograde. But it was, I've had, last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with some energy shifts. And sometimes often when you're going for bigger growth, you have to, go there. And I didn't give into it. I leveraged it. Thank you, AliNICOLE, many times for being a great supporter during that. So I could move through that and turn that, pain into power and move through the energy that I was going through. And I finally, a couple days ago, come out the other side and okay, now there I am again. And so that's a big celebration because I was feeling really lost.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Really lost. But, the other thing I want to celebrate is I was really giving thought to that actually yesterday. I had put in my vision for this year in the business that I wanted to create some partnerships. I'm tired of working alone. And, I had wonderfully attracted, AliNICOLE, Queen AliNICOLE. That was a wonderful partnership. And then you guys, I was really thinking about that. It's how nice we have this team of trusted, professionals that each have their strengths. And I just want to celebrate you guys and being part of my vision and feeling that support, even if we're not necessarily having some individual time, just knowing that you're there and that we're all working toward our bigger growth. It creates accountability for me, which is needed. And also just it just feels good to have support. So I just want to celebrate that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That is beautiful. That's huge. That's very huge. Much appreciated too.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? It's not mandatory.
Well, I'm celebrating having had some time off. That's for sure.
Yes, I was waiting to hear that. Exactly.
Lucky.
Yeah, it was good. It honestly, I'm paying the price a little bit this week, but well worth it for sure. It was
well worth it for sure.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
So beautiful.
We're just so fortunate to have that within an hour's drive of where we live. And,
Wow.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Yeah, beautiful. So glad you shared those images.
Yeah, it was quite something. We didn't have spectacular weather the whole week. We had some rain, but for the most part, it was pretty good. And boy, it's been a while since we've done some of those hikes. They were,
your body could tell that, right?
that's for sure. Yeah, we were learning quite quickly what kind of shape I'm in, and it's not the right kind of shape I should be in. So. But no, it was great. And this week coming back, I've had a lot to do. I've started implementing my YouTube strategy that I've changed up a little bit. I've got more work to do on my website and a number of other things. That the to-do list keeps growing, as you all know.
Of course. Yeah, of course. It's right.
Yes,
It's to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just can't seem to check things off fast enough. But
Join the club. But
it will actually start to level out, believe it or not. It's just that when you are accelerating more and having to implement, especially when you're building new processes or up leveling the current ones, you will find that you are kind of in this overproductive mode in a sense. But it's only setting up the structure so that things can actually be easier and lighter moving forward. So you actually will start to see that kind of taper off. Not within the next month, though, but yeah.
No. Slowly but surely, right?
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Well, it's coming along, and I'm happy about that. And I crossed over 11,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Yay! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Yeah, it's fun. I know it's not huge compared to some, but it's for me that's pretty good.
It's perfect for you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. That is great. Well, if no one else, we can do is I am going to go ahead and open it up sort of just to have a little bit of discussion about your takeaways and ahas and even around the challenges that we've had, so far, or challenges that you've had so far. So King Tom, if you don't have anything you want to jump in and share, we'll move into that and maybe you can talk more in the open discussion. Okay, I'm going to take that as, is everyone able to hear? Because I'm not really able to hear Tom. Tom, are you still here?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Maybe delays on my part, so I'm not actually, I can hear you fine actually when you just said that. All right, so let's kind of jump in real quick, and then I'm going to actually get into some divine intuitive group and individual assessment. I'm going to explain what that is. But so what has been your biggest takeaways or even ahas or challenges that you've had so far? Since our last call, I should say.
Okay, with me, my challenge is creating products.
Okay.
That appears to be a stone of stumbling for me. Taking what I have to offer and putting it in a package form that's palatable for the clients that are going to receive it.
Okay.
That appears to be a challenge for me.
Okay. Well, it's not a challenge for me, so I will be able to help you with that.
I imagine not.
And I'm sure others within the group, who have done product development as well, will be able to provide some insight and even maybe some assistance as well. So, yeah, so we'll just step you into the solution space. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that on our next call together and see kind of what we can come up with, because it's definitely high time for you to be in that product development mode in the easiest way. So that's a good thing. All right, anybody else, or are we ready to move?
I'm in that same boat.
Okay, you're in the same boat? Okay.
Yeah.
I have company, good.
As long as it's not the misery part that loves it.
I found the structure that you created is helpful. You'll recognise by now that I like structure because
you're breaking up for me, Gina. I think it's my headset here. Can you say that again?
I said one of the things that I found really helpful is that when you did the 5-day challenge, and again when you've done the 5-week challenge, that you have given us an embryonic structure, and you know already that I would like to take something and then make it into, you call it a template, I call it a structure.
Yeah.
So I can see clearly what I've got to do, because this is just one strand of lots of things that I'm doing. And time is my biggest challenge. So the more I can streamline it into something where I can see clearly what I've got to do, that I find really, really helpful.
Great.
And having the accountability and also having your feedback as I achieve each thing, to know that I'm on the right path, and because otherwise it can feel as if it's in a vacuum.
I see, yes.
And I'm interpreting what's said, so it's quite reassuring to know if I'm on the right track or not, because it was quite conceivable that I'd gone off completely off track. It wouldn't be the first time. So
you've been doing great.
So I've found that very helpful, and even if you go back to the previous one, I've been talking about doing an audit of all of the stuff that I've got, and I haven't done it because there've been other things, but it made me do an audit of what I'd got, and so it's just focusing the mind, and that's really helpful.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That is great. And you've been doing really well so far, so pat on the back for sure to yourself. That you can actually congratulate and celebrate that too within, your celebration structure, so to speak. So thank you so much, Queen Gina, for sharing
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will share. I'm proud that I'm being patient with myself. I am making progress. I'm not, I did not complete at exact timeliness of the challenges, but I am doing them. I am working to demonstrate them, and I'm giving myself the space I need to further wrap up my 5-week plan so that I can actually feel good about executing. And in doing that, I have been, like you, Gina, time is of essence. And so I, sent you and AliNICOLE yesterday. I'm looking at ways, learning, from you, AliNICOLE, and some of the things I've done before as well, looking at ways to repurpose old material and bring it into the new energy, and trying to find, so I put myself a challenge in my 5-week to find 5 pieces and then repurpose those pieces each individually 5 times. And so I set a little chart that I've been worked on yesterday. I can share later and I type it up with the group, but that article I did with the well-being assessment is one of them. So I'm trying to, that curation, there's a lot of creating going on, and that was feeling, good, but also a little overwhelming. And I have all this stuff that I've had over the years, products and different things. So I'm working to revitalize those. So that's one thing I'm taking away. Another is, if you guys haven't yet listened to Queen AliNICOLE's interview with Samar, I've had wonderful conversations. I take lots of notes when we have our one-on-ones, AliNICOLE, but and I trust you tremendously. You know that. I just go with the energy of it. But hearing that in the way that you were able to break it down, simplifying for new listeners, not at our level of doing this, it actually fed me so well, and it gave me even more of a structure of where you're taking us, and connect to some dots for me and lighten some things. So I don't know if you guys haven't listened. Gina, you probably really, really like that, because it gave me that structure of, okay, here's where she's taking us. We're going to be brilliant. Watch us. Yeah, it's brilliant. You're so brilliant. I think Gina
actually did hear it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. That just warmed me all over.
It's brilliant. It's like, it made it I hate to say this because it's brilliant, but it like dumped it down so I can go, I can digestible. And that didn't mean dumped it down, because you're brilliant how you communicate it, but it made it really digestible, for where I'm at in the energy, trying to get back in my groove. So I just recommend you guys to listen to it. It really helped.
Yeah, I look forward to listening in on that. I know a couple of weeks back we were kind of wondering when that would be released, and so it obviously.
I know, right? It's been released. I actually tagged you all in a couple of posts on it, but I know King Rob, you had been off the grid, so you might not have gotten the chance, to see that, or it's buried within the notifications. But yours actually should be coming out soon. I know Queen Renee's has been recently posted too, and it was phenomenal. Which I'm going to talk about that actually too within this call today and everything. So I've got some big things, to share. But thank you so much, Queen Renee, for just that wonderful feedback and empowering energy, because I felt even more energized after you said that. I was feeling warm and fuzzy, and like I said, it's already warm over here. But thank you. I really appreciate that. Really, really do.
You're very welcome.
I listened and
thank
enjoyed
you.
I've already listened to it and enjoyed it. I found it really good too. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for your comment on YouTube, Queen Gina. I responded to it yesterday. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I really appreciate you. So if does anyone else want to share about any takeaways or challenge, or has everybody shared? I think I got caught up in what Queen Renee said, and I might have forgot. But if not, we can move forward.
I think I have some overlap with everybody here. Time is a challenge this week, but I feel like the roadmap is fairly clear. It's just going to be when I get to developing the higher end products. And we'll be moving definitely into that, which, I'll be talking even in this call
because believe it or not, things are actually about to shift, and there's going to be more of a customization type of format. And I'll speak a little bit more about that as we get into more of the content for today. But I'm extremely proud of everybody. And what you'll find is that as you are building and these challenges and everything that you're working on, sometimes you're not going to actually get them done within the certain time frame. The goal is really to be moving the energy forward, okay? And so as long as you are moving the energy forward, obviously with intent to get at least the basics done of what the challenge is, that's what's going to be most important. But you'll find, especially like with the one that we just recently had, that's why it is a 5-week. But for some, that's going to be more than 5 weeks. You'll just be setting things up continuously. Just keep moving the energy forward without the pressure, so to speak, to have to get it done. It's doable, obviously, but sometimes you won't be able to just execute like that because you do have your time schedules, but also too, some of your creations may want to develop further. So, you have to honor that. You'll also find that you may step into what I do, and I think I mentioned this to Queen Renee and Queen GINA just in a message this morning about the multiplication process. Because once you start really in this royal flush energy, just from the basic level, moving kind of up into the higher tier, it begins to be a rinse and repeat and a multiplication type of system. So you'll find where you're creating multiple plans of kind of a royal flush, a 5-week process, or you may set yourself up for ones that are 5 months where 1 month you're working on a particular thing. So this opens up and expands, like I said. Yeah, I won't get into all that because
but that's really, can I just say though, I appreciate you saying that because me, I miss accountability. I like to keep my commitments, and it's nice to know that you give us credit that we're moving the ball forward, even if we didn't make the end of the week a specific agenda. That that feels good to me because I want to keep my responsibilities here in the group, but time-wise, trying to maneuver everything. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm the first to know that, especially when it comes to the creation process, that sometimes you get started and it takes a shape of its own. And that's not something that you want to be able to hinder, trying to box it into a structure and even a timetable that may not be required or necessary. So like I said, these challenges, yes, you do need to complete them in the timely fashion, but I do know that there are certain components and elements that just it won't. And even if you do create, let's say you finish a basic part of it, right? So you may complete the challenge, but it may open up to you to do more, which is going to cause you to have to create another plan around it. And then that kind of starts another cycle. So, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, which is not a bad thing. But, what I want to do now is move forward because the energy is actually pretty high in this space right now. And so it's kind of a good time for me to kind of be present with the energy. So within the email that you received, that one of the things that was going to be taking place today was sort of this divine intuitive group and individual assessment. So I just want to speak to this briefly. So this is really about me kind of receiving some insights for you all as individuals and group dynamics. And this may be about where you need to prioritize or focus in the present. It also could be like if you are stuck in a certain area or where you're creating great momentum. It's just things that will be relevant to what's emerging for you. So I just want to take a moment just to be present first with a couple of themes or so that may come up just for the group. And then afterwards, I'll be sort of present individually with each of you. It won't take long just to sort of see what comes up. So just give me a moment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll do is I'll actually write down a few things that come up. Let me be present with the space here. Okay. All right. So there's actually 3 things that we jot this down really quick. Okay. So there's like 3 things that have come up so far, and more could, but this is just initially 3 things that popped in, and this is for everyone. So it's the group dynamics. So it's important right now that the place in which you're coming from, okay, the energy and the vibration where you're coming from. So that was something that came up first, the importance of the place you're coming from. So basically, this is about the vibrational starting point with your creations and launching of endeavors. So when you are creating or working on things and you start launching, it's going to be best to be mindful of why you're doing what you're doing. And meaning, kind of the best way I guess I could explain this is if you're trying to change something or you're desperate maybe to do something, then where you're coming from is a place of maybe something missing or lacking in your experience, or it could even be around the vibration. I'm not sure if this will work. Then that would mean that you're coming sort of from a place of not trusting or scarcity, not feeling aligned with source power or source supply. So, I mean, that's just kind of a general example. Another thing is that is sort of coming up is that if you're feeling like everything that you're doing are the next best steps as you're creating, then actually what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to be this gateway for infinite potential and possibilities to unfold and be in flow. So again, as mentioned previously, it's best to be mindful of the place that you're coming from as you're engaging in the processes, because this is actually going to determine your success rate. And so I know most of you are desiring to be in this accelerated fashion right now. And I really feel that that's the vibration really collectively for everybody, that it is time to accelerate. And those were actually some core themes that came up, I believe, within our first call, where King Joseph was talking about acceleration time, and King Rob mentioned about this sort of advancement that came up for him. But it was, that vibration really was collective, you know, for everyone. So can everyone hear me so far?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Another thing that came in was about it's time to dig in, and I was here, dive deep. So basically, each of you will have to discover where you need to strengthen your commitments or your priorities and really start to accurately immerse yourself in the process, because this is going to help you to far exceed anything that you've ever achieved. So there are manifestations that are right and ready, right? So some of the things that may even seem far off, they're actually already present. And it's really just a matter of taking notice, maybe seeing some things differently, starting to execute uncommonly, possibly taking new approaches, and then really starting to move in right inspired timing, because that's very, very critical. And that's something actually within the media and entrepreneurial chess that I highly focus on, is that setup is great and having execution strategies are fine, but it is really the timing and being intuitive with how to make the next best move. Because I found that sometimes when you move out of alignment or you don't move in the synchronicity of that right timing, the results are drastically different. I know that to be a fact. So yeah, so dig in and dive deep was something else, like I said, that came up. Also something that came up, which is not interesting to me because it's actually something that I was going to be talking about. And I think I actually mentioned it early before we actually got started was that new customized formats. And so that's, like I said, that's something I'm actually going to be talking about a little bit later. So that's not surprising that that sort of is something that came through. So basically, even though there's this collective agenda with the mastermind, okay, but there's a lot of individuality in formats that are starting to emerge. And that's probably why some of you are feeling like, you know, I'm not getting these challenges done, you know, in the time that's set. And because the structure, everything that's starting to take place is sort of coming into this new alignment to be customized and sort of individualized basically for everything that you have that's going on. So, so I know I'm going to be able to talk about that, you know, a little bit later. So I'm feeling that that's pretty complete around those three core themes that came up collectively for you all. All right, so let me just hold space real quick, and I want to be present with each of you. It's not something that will take long. Also, before I actually start that, I want you to keep in mind that something that comes up for an individual or certain aspects might resonate with several of you, and you'll find that it's relevant to you as well. Often these processes start to help people see the mirror reflection, and certainly some things can come into play for you as well, just from hearing something that comes up for someone else. So let me feel whose energy is either hiding or jumping. I'm just kidding. I'm just being present with the space. So give me a moment. Okay, Rob. Were you hiding or jumping?
Well, it's funny. I was waiting for you to call my name.
That's funny.
Really?
Weird.
Wow. So you were ready.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
He said, let's hear it. Well, I'm not psychically reading you or anything. I'm just being present with the awareness. So basically, you were waiting to be called on. So for whatever reason, you were waiting. Whether I know it's going to be me, watch it's going to be me, so to speak. Believe it or not, this is actually relevant for you, because there are things that you actually are waiting on, or as Derek Rydell would say, that it's actually waiting with you, and with it waiting with you, it's sort of weighing you down. But in this case, it's actually a good thing, because you know, you've been in this advancement space, this advancement energy, and actually being able to have the pause that you have has been really beneficial, because even though coming back, you may feel like, oh, I've got some things stacked up against me, but actually it's almost like you have created this momentum for yourself, and the pause now is positioning you almost like for like a launch, like if you're launching off of a launching pad, or I'll just use a rocket metaphor. So you're about to really launch into a new orbit, which is really good because of all that you've been working on. And remember, because you've actually now purchased your domain. And so, yeah, if we didn't celebrate that with him on the last call, because that happened after the last call, didn't it?
Yes, I think, if not after, it may have been.
Yeah,
just
it did,
before,
because the 5-day challenge, because you announced that, I think, in the 5-day challenge. So we need to celebrate that really quick, that King Rob is the proud owner of the domain Robert Deptford, and that's going to serve his Robert Deptford Communications. So basically, you're actually about to get into that template. So you already have the structures set up, which I'm feeling definitely we're going to have a call around that soon. So you're going to actually really be catapulting into your multidimensional tier, really starting to level up for that high-end work. So that readiness, that's probably why I could feel that. And you said that. I know I'm about to be called. But actually, you're about to have people who are leveling up to you and actually ready to play at this higher level. So that's why it's actually important that you have these things in place, and we do start moving the energy on your higher tier offers. So definitely sit with that.
Yeah, that resonates with me. I mean, everything I've been doing over the last month has been sort of preparing and upgrading and getting some things.
Up-leveling. It's actually up-leveling. And
Up-leveling,
let me speak to the distinctions of that vibration, okay? Because there is actually a difference between upgrading and up-leveling. Because upgrading is more like giving a premium version of something that exists, right? And even though it may seem like that, up-leveling is taking it into a completely different category, which high-entizes it, has a different vibration for influence and success results. So it's really an up-leveling versus an upgrade. I mean, they kind of have the same energy, so to speak, but the up-leveling is a higher frequency. So that's actually where you're catapulting at this time. So that's really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to playing more with that with you.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so okay, Tom.
Yeah, this ought to be interesting.
He said this ought to be interesting. So basically what's already present for you is that you've been in this deep dive. You've already sort of been in the dig in. And there's a lot that's going on with you. But what actually needs to happen sort of during this time is a shifting in the priorities, because sometimes we can be digging deep or going deep and immersing, but we could not always be immersing accurately in what we really need to focus on. So it's productive in getting a lot of different things done for sure that are going to make a huge difference. But there reaches a point where you have to recognize I'm in deep now. I'm working on all these different things, but what are actually the high level core focuses? Like, these other things are good and they're great and they're going to be phenomenal for completion. But are they actually the things that are really going to be moving the needle towards this up-leveling, process? So that's something that, and I know you and I have a call coming up. So with this being present now, that'll be something I can speak to more, during that call. But that's definitely coming. So you're already in. You've already been digging in, taking the deep dive. And again, it's not a bad thing, but there's just a shifting. So if you're navigating the waters or so, and you don't want to get caught in a coral reef, so to speak, of busyness where it has you hung, and then you're struggling to sort of get out because you've gone in too deep in a certain process. So before that actually takes place, this is the time where you start making the shift and getting into what are the higher priority initiatives for yourself during this time.
Cool.
It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, so like I said, I know we have our call coming up soon. So we'll just see what else comes up during that time. Right. Oh, Queen Renee.
I'm like, Rob, I knew you were going to call me right then. I started to smile going, oh, I'm next.
Yeah, you felt that, huh?
Yep, I did.
So that also speaks to where you are as well. Your energy, though, is more that I am next in line to be highly visible. So that's something that's coming up for you. High level visibility of it being your time to be seen and heard, not just seen and heard just in general, but really fully fleshing out this newer expression that's coming through for this phase, because of course it's going to be something that's continuing to develop and ongoing, but there's a part that needs to already start being unleashed just a little bit more. Nothing that you have to, go full all in, so to speak, even though the core things that came up for the group collectively was about dig in and diving deep. Your immersion basically during this time is really within. And as you keep going within, that's where you're going to pull out your own treasure chest. And then you begin to look at that treasure chest of what jewels and what golden nuggets, what gems from my evolution am I here to share at this time. And so as you begin to share those online or just in your creations, what you're going to find is that it's going to bring to you a greater unfolding. It's almost like if you were on like a treasure hunt or a hunt that had clues and it was leading you. So it's like each of your gems are going to lead you to this bigger expansion of yourself. So it's like the pot of gold, so to speak, at the end of the rainbow, or you're just seeing these diamonds here and there, and then it leads you to this bigger treasure chest of yourself. And then you'll be able to actually present something more fully to the masses as a whole. So that's a good feeling.
That's actually beautifully said. I like the idea of the treasure chest. That I can sit with that for different reasons, as you know, speaking to me the last couple of weeks.
That's what came up.
Feels good. That feels good.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's what's come up for you right now. And, it actually just made me think of something because, kind of retro going back, I just told you and Queen GINA last week about reading The Valuable Brand, which is actually all about the extraction factor. So that's actually very timely, very synced up that would come through for you, now to do some deeper immersion or extraction, so to speak, to bring forth that treasure chest. So.
Okay. I'm making a note of that. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're right. King Joseph.
Yes.
Yes is it, because you're basically saying yes to everything that is rightfully yours to reap during this season. and with that, as you mentioned before about, having challenges, with the product development, believe it or not, that's actually going to be something that you were going to share within the multiplicity space about creating different levels of products in a multiplicity type of way. So that's something that we will we'll talk about that more in our call this coming week, which makes perfect sense to me. And the more I'm just kind of being present, with this is because you only have the one product. So there's like a lot that's going to come through you right now. And so basically, like I said, you said yes. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because, believe it or not, some of the initial feelings that you all are having are really speaking to where you are. And I'm able to sort of, translate that vibration, so to speak, that it just syncs up with the movement. And for him, primarily because of all the advancement energy and also a clearing. Now, this is interesting because it's almost like I feel like a cloud, almost like when it's cloudy and then you can see the sun. So basically, a lot of clarity is going to be coming through for you on how to continue to move some things forward in an accelerated way. Because even with all the stuff that you're working on and you're hyenitizing and repositioning things for your website, I can feel that there's still been a little bit of, not necessarily heavy confusion or a fog, so to speak, but definitely some uncertainty. So a cloud sort of breaking through or the sun coming out is going to be extremely helpful for you during this time. So you can definitely expect that you'll be getting more ahas, more clarity around certain things, and actually surprise yourself at some of the ideas that pop up for you, and then you'll feel guided to say, you know, I got to share about this because this is more simpler than people can imagine. And then when you're seeing this for yourself, it's like, wow, you know, all these years I've actually could have been doing this, not from a judgmental standpoint or anything, but it's just that revelation of, I'm ready to make this, I can do this. And whether it's a timing issue, timing won't be an issue because it'll just reveal to you how you can get these things done in the simplest format. So that's something, I'm glad this is on recording so I can go back and listen to it. And then when we speak this coming week in some of the things that are emerging, then I can start to incorporate, you know, some of this wisdom and insight that has come through. But you're definitely all in on your yes. And I feel that you're not really wanting to withhold anything at this point that is trying to come, you know, trying to come through. So you're going to have a lot of no's too. And when I say a lot of no's, means some things that you're saying no to so that you can honor the stronger yes. So I'll kind of sit with that a little bit more, but I'm going to kind of move on so we can get to everything else in the call. But I'm with you on your yes, because I'm feeling that all the way. And also seeing those mounds get the grass on them.
It is grass time.
Is it not? Exactly. Exactly. So you with your yes?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, before I move forward, did you have anything you want to say? Or you're good?
I'm good. I think that's very, very clear and will become clearer as time moves on.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will, because that clarity is going to be unfolding, like I mentioned before. Okay. Queen GINA.
Well, I thought you were coming to me next because there's nobody else left.
Yeah. So do we take that as saving the best for last, or did it just default? No, I'm just kidding.
No. I think that
yeah.
There's no best, is there?
No, it is all the best, actually.
That's
know.
right.
So everything syncs up in its right timing. So give me a moment to be present with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so new shifts. So this is a good spot for you because you are leveling up a lot of what you've been doing. And now that you've actually brought the enlightened leadership formats in some different levels and bringing in the acceleration, what you're going to find is that you're going to actually be making some huge shifts through enlightenment yourself to get more into a lot of the newer, higher end energy. What you're already doing is already supporting that, but it is more of the stepping stones, to getting there. But because you've actually been diligent with putting together the things that you've been putting together and creating this momentum, for yourself, now that you actually have these newer structures in place that you can start to leverage and the templates that you're working from, now the other side of the track is inviting you to sort of dive in. And that's where a lot of my guidance is obviously going to help in that, because you may not initially know where do I get started with this? So that will be something that we'll be talking about. Also, because you watched the video with Victor Odo, and I believe he mentioned, something about being in that high state of trust during this time, and, not necessarily seeing all of the big picture, but understanding and knowing something's calling you forth, and you just have to keep taking those steps towards that. So moving into that space and just going ahead and saying, going back to even King Joseph's energy of the yes, going ahead and saying yes to what you don't even fully understand. This is what's going to start to not just transition you, but catapult you into this new stream of limitless possibilities, which is then going to bring you more wisdom and insight of how to start working with this overarching umbrella, the new higher expanded umbrella, which then that actually puts you sort of in the same energy as King Rob, where it's like go time for him into that newer stream. So that'll be something, like I said, we'll have some conversation. Around.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, definitely, like I said, the new shifts for you, because here we go. Because actually, this is the time to be doing it, because now if you, well, I'm not going to speak to if you don't, I'm just going to state what needs to be stated. Yeah, it is time to shift. Yeah, it is time to shift into that, so that there's not the process of getting hung or caught up in a loop of actually starting to continuously develop things that are already there and, you know, creating a bigger expansion for them. It's fine that you're doing that, and that's exactly what you need to be doing, what you should have been doing, okay, up until this point. But now the attention's got to shift into this limitless, the umbrella vantage point of it, okay? So, like I said, with that, you'll end up giving pause sort of on massively developing some of the things that are already there, where you're going to flow your attention now to this bigger umbrella. And then once that is sort of more solidified, then you'll be able to come back to those other things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a lot to think about, but yeah, it feels right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So